Mountain Hermit. The biting wind tore at Riku's threadbare haori, each gust a frozen claw raking across his skin. Snow, fine as powdered bone, swirled around his worn sandals, obscuring the treacherous path that snaked up the towering, white-mantled peaks. Days had blurred into an endless cycle of walking, driven by a singular, burning purpose. Behind him, secured by a sturdy rope over his shoulders, was the wooden box containing Aika. He could feel her slight weight, a constant, living reminder of his shattered past and his desperate hope for the future. "Just a little further, Aika," he murmured, his breath clouding in the frigid air. A soft thump from inside the box was her only reply, a familiar comfort. Taro Kenzaki's words echoed in his mind, clear as the mountain air. "Seek Kiyoshi Ueda. He lives deep in the northern mountains, a former moon hunter of great repute. He trains only the worthy, and he will not be easily persuaded." Worthy. The word weighed heavily on Riku. Was he worthy? He wasn't sure, but he knew he had no other choice. Finally, as the pale winter sun began its slow descent, painting the snow-capped peaks in hues of orange and violet, Riku spotted it. A wisp of smoke curling from a humble, snow-laden hut nestled against a sheer rock face. Relief, sharp and sudden, warred with a fresh wave of apprehension. This was it. He stumbled towards the dwelling, his legs screaming in protest. A small, cleared patch of ice-crusted ground surrounded the hut. As Riku approached, a figure emerged from the doorway. He was an old man, stooped but with an underlying wiry strength, his face a roadmap of wrinkles, his eyes sharp and unyielding as flint. He wore simple, practical robes, and his gaze instantly fixed on the large wooden box on Riku's back. "Lost?" the old man grunted, his voice raspy, carrying the bite of the mountain wind. Riku bowed deeply, ignoring the tremor in his exhausted limbs. "Master Kiyoshi Ueda, I presume? My name is Riku Hoshino. I have traveled far to seek your guidance." Kiyoshi's eyes narrowed, sweeping over Riku's gaunt frame and then lingering on the box. "Guidance? I retired from such matters long ago. There is nothing for you here." He made to turn back inside. "Please, master," Riku pleaded, his voice cracking with desperation. "My family, they were massacred by Nightborn. My sister, Aika, was transformed into one of them." He gestured to the box. "But she still retains her humanity. She's different. I need to learn to fight, to join the Moon Hunter's Corps, to find a way to save her and avenge my family. Taro Kenzaki sent me." Kiyoshi paused, his back still partially turned. "Taro, eh?" He always had a soft spot for lost causes. He finally turned fully, his gaze piercing. "A demon, you say? And you carry her with you? Foolish boy. The Moon Hunters exist to exterminate demons, not to nurture them. You misunderstand our purpose." "No, master, I don't," Riku insisted, stepping forward, heedless of the old man's intimidating aura. "I understand the horrors of the Nightborn more than anyone. But Aika, she's my family. There has to be a way. I will not stop until I find it. I will dedicate my life to this. I will become strong enough to protect humanity and find a cure for my sister." Kiyoshi scoffed. "Strong? You stand before me, trembling and half-starved, carrying a demon on your back. What makes you think you possess the strength, the resolve, for this path? It is a path of endless pain and sacrifice, boy. Not one for sentimental fools." "I am not a fool, master," Riku said, his voice gaining a steely edge, fueled by the memory of his parents, of Aika's struggle. "I have seen what the Nightborn do. I have felt loss. I know what is at stake. I will endure any pain, make any sacrifice. Just please train me. I will prove my worth." Aika stirred in her box, a soft, almost mournful whimper escaping the confines. Kiyoshi's eyes darted to the box, a flicker of something unreadable passing through them. He remained silent for a long moment, simply observing Riku, who stood unmoving, shoulders squared, meeting the old man's gaze with unwavering resolve. "You reek of desperation," Kiyoshi finally said, his voice devoid of warmth. "And that demon on your back is a liability. It is a distraction, a weakness that will get you killed. Or worse, turn you into one of them." Riku shook his head. "She is my strength, my reason. I will not abandon her." Kiyoshi sighed, a sound like rustling dry leaves. "Stubborn, just like Taro. Very well." He turned and walked back towards the hut, leaving the door ajar. "If you are so determined to waste your time, you may begin by clearing the snow from the path. From here to the old cedar tree. With your bare hands." Riku's eyes widened slightly. The cedar tree was easily 100 yards away. And the snow was deep, hardened by the wind and ice. It was an impossible task. But he didn't hesitate. "Yes, master," he called out, his voice ringing with renewed hope. He dropped Aika's box gently beside the hut, ensuring it was out of the wind. Aika bumped her head against the inside, a questioning gesture. Riku knelt beside it, placing a hand on the lid. "It's okay, Aika. This is it. We're going to start." He could almost feel her calm, her trust. Straightening up, Riku walked to the beginning of the path. He inhaled deeply, the icy air burning his lungs, and then plunged his bare hands into the snow, scooping it away, his fingers quickly numbing. The sun dipped below the horizon, plunging the mountains into twilight. The cold intensified, but Riku kept working. He wouldn't stop. He couldn't. Hours passed. Kiyoshi watched from the hut's doorway for a while, a silent, unreadable sentinel. He saw Riku's hands grow raw and bleeding, his movements slowing from exhaustion, but never faltering. The boy's teeth chattered. His body shivered uncontrollably. But he continued to dig, driven by a fire Kiyoshi hadn't seen in many years. Finally, well after midnight, when Riku had cleared a narrow, uneven path almost to the cedar tree, Kiyoshi emerged once more. He carried a small, flickering lantern, its light casting long, dancing shadows. "Enough," Kiyoshi rasped, his voice cutting through the silence. "Come inside." Riku tried to stand, but his legs buckled. But he collapsed back into the snow, gasping. Kiyoshi walked over, his face still stern. But his eyes held a subtle shift. He looked down at Riku's mangled hands. "You truly are a fool," Kiyoshi said. Yet there was no malice in his tone, but a persistent one. "Listen closely, boy. My training is not for the faint of heart. It will break your body, shatter your spirit, and test your resolve beyond anything you can imagine. Many have come seeking my knowledge, and all have failed. If you falter, if you hesitate, if you show even a whisper of weakness, you will be cast out. Do you understand?" Riku, panting, nodded. "Yes, master." "And your sister," Kiyoshi continued, his gaze drifting to the wooden box. "She will remain contained. She will not interfere with your training. If she ever poses a threat to me, to you, or to anyone, I will not hesitate to eliminate her. Do you understand this condition fully?" Riku swallowed, his heart aching. But he knew this was the price. He met Kiyoshi's gaze. "I understand, master. I trust Aika. She will not pose a threat." Kiyoshi simply grunted. "Good. Now come. There is a place for your demon. And then, tomorrow your Real training begins. Sunrise. No excuses." He turned and walked back to the hut. Riku, with a surge of adrenaline, pushed himself up, his muscles screaming. He stumbled over to Aika's box, gently lifting it. The weight felt different now, not just a burden, but a promise. He followed Kiyoshi into the warm, dimly lit hut, the scent of burning wood and old paper filling his nostrils. This was it. The first breath.